You start kind of throwing on your mind, like, what would that look like? Where would he play if it wasn't the Jets? Has he done enough to make teams feel like, they'd warrant a trade? If the Jets cut him, like, what kind of deal would he be able to sign? A year, 2 years? I mean, what's the plan? And this year has not gone well. Let's not be mistaken by any of it. And as much as you could point to a series of things that have played a role, there's still elements of Aaron Rodgers hasn't been good enough either. So, there's a desire from the player side. I think we all understand that. But from the team side of things, to their perspective, I don't know. Again, we've talked about this draft class. Maybe there's some teams who are like, yeah, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers for a year and get to the next draft class. That would make more sense than trying to draft a guy high that I don't feel overly great about.
He did say New York. He didn't say specifically the Jets. So, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Maybe.
Plot twist.
Just, kind of throwing it out there that maybe he refuted that and said, my plan is to play in New York. I'd preferably like to play in New York.
He did say that they have to want him back, though. He did say that. So it kind of, maybe in a way, kind of specifies the idea of the Jets.
How can he must be wanted, though, right?
He's got to be wanted.
Lee, same thing. Lee's like, I'm going back to Green Bay. They said they want me back.
It could be the Giants, though. It could be him saying New York has to want him back. Can things go so bad and so wrong in a scenario where the idea of what the upside could represent is outweighed by the disappointment of what has been? Because his resume
Say
is
that one more time. That sounded like a failed political campaign. Go back
yeah, there. Can the upside of what someone can represent to a situation be outweighed by
you said unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened. I don't know if I used unburdened. I don't even know if that's a word. Is that a word? I don't know.
Unburdened's definitely a word, yeah.
Oh, good. Man, I'm going to add that. I don't know how I'm going to use it, though. Unburdened.
I could have sworn you just said that.
I could unburden, like, doing yard work or kitchen duties. Anyway, I just think that does the opportunity for things to change, is that something to consider with Aaron Rodgers at this point? Because if some way, somehow, there's the idea collectively amongst Woody Johnson and his circled friends of advisors and whatever it may be, his brain trust, say that this outweighs or it kind of supersedes his resume, what he could do, what he has done, outweighs us getting rid of him now. Is there a possibility that that's still a thought in that building? That would be my biggest question. Because if it's a yes, then you don't detonate this situation. I think you give it at least one more year if you believe that Aaron Rodgers is not the sole problem that exists for the New York Jets. When you think about the other New York teams, speaking of, Malik Neighbors said it very clearly in his interview. Daniel Jones wasn't playing, and yet you got the same results in the game. So what if they benched Aaron Rodgers and they got the same results in the game? And players are looking at it like, well, maybe it isn't Aaron Rodgers. I know for me, I found myself surprised that the idea of Woody Johnson getting upset and making decisions based off of the opposite thing that I was thinking. I was thinking Aaron Rodgers was communicating with Woody Johnson, and Woody Johnson was making knee-jerk reactions off of trying to keep Aaron Rodgers happy. I feel like it comes back, and it turns out Woody Johnson doesn't even like Aaron Rodgers right now.
Well, that's also part of this story, because Rodgers refuted that report from Diana Rossini, and There was a lot in that report that we went over yesterday, whether it was Joe Douglas going fishing after he got clipped, Woody Johnson landing the helicopter on the field, Woody Johnson and Rodgers not speaking for months now, and Woody.
I can promise you, he landed the helicopter.
Well,
I played there. It happened on multiple occasions. Almost.
Damn. So Rodgers is saying, "Yeah, that's not true. I've had a great time here, so on and so forth."
He clearly hasn't had a great time there.
Yeah, like how?
That's tongue in cheek. Come on.
How does she get it that wrong? Like, how is all
Bro,
of
she
that
did
wrong?
it. That's why we know her name. Like any reporter that we know, they can get some things incorrect, might not be all the way correct, but they've built their resume and their reputations. You name any of them, any of these people that get these reports that they put out, they can't just put out falsified information over and over again and still have a job doing it and have credibility where people will actually discuss it. Like if we're talking about an Adam Schefter, or who's the dude from NFL Network, Rappaport, or if it's Rossini, or if it's
Albert
Josino. Okay, anybody who is releasing these type of reports, somebody gave them that inside information. Lack of information? Dang. Shouts out, Jason. That was my dude in D.C. They're getting that information from somewhere. So whether it turns out to be all the way valid and true, and it's 100% being delivered the way that it is, it came 100% from somebody that was credible for them to have a source to say what it is that they've said. And that's what Diana Rossini has always done. So there is credibility to what it is that she said. Now, who said it? That's what, to me, a lot of times, that's what makes it important. Like if it's the janitor in the building that said, this is what I saw, this and that, you can report that back. Maybe that's not as credible as you would like as a source, but I don't think that she would put that out there if she didn't have a real source that gave her that information. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers can refute it all he wants. This is one of those times where when you say immunized versus sanitized, comes back on you. You know what I mean?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Immunized versus vaccinated?
Yeah, sanitized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I'm just saying, like, if you had the credibility, if you had the credibility, you could throw it out there and be like, I'm refuting that, and people would be like, Aaron Rodgers has always told us the truth.
Look, there's no doubt truths to Diana Rossini's stories. Like, she's not making this up. It's not fabricated. Her sources are different than they're obviously not from Aaron Rodgers, but that doesn't mean her sources aren't coming directly from people in the front office, coaching staff, or players. I can promise you that. So you got to take both and understand that, like, this is the perspective of Aaron Rodgers and what he's saying, and he's in a spot where he probably can't say everything that he wants to say and feels, maybe, in this moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's her job to report on everything that she's getting. And all this stuff is, I mean, trust me, this stuff is wild behind the scenes. I mean, just talking to some other people who've been there and been involved, like, it's wild. So I don't, I personally have no idea what's going to happen next year with the Jets. I guess I find it more crazy that anyone would want that job after, especially guys who've already been there. When you hear like Rex Ryan and Eric Mangini who want to go back, and maybe that just tells you that they're not getting enough opportunity to go elsewhere and coach. So this might be it. And the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know in this instance. So they'd rather go back and try this again and try to, bring back the New York Jets. I don't know, but it feels like a really, really hard job to sign up for, despite the fact that, like, to me, the roster is extremely talented and they've got a bunch of like legit players, man. And so if you blow this thing up, if you're Woody Johnson, and try to start over and rebuild and all this crap, you're going to be setting the organization back again. I find it hard to believe it's an attractive job anymore for someone to take over. It's tough.
I'd say the only reason why it would be attractive is if you're one of those, this is my last shot, this is my last opportunity, like a Rex Ryan. I probably can't get another head coaching job somewhere else. I probably won't get another head coaching opportunity after this one. If some way, somehow your relationships or maybe the credibility of what your resume represents, it could create an opening, an opportunity for you to get it. I'm going after this gig.
So 2 a.m., last one left at the bar.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the grenade.
Yeah.
The New York Jets job
don't pull that pin yet.
That's a grenade. That's a grenade job. 100%. It's a death mission. You're going in kamikaze style. Like, nice. I'm going in. I don't plan on coming out. You're not getting another gig after this job. And that's why you would take the opportunity to try to get it. Because otherwise, if I'm one who has a clean slate, like the OC in Detroit or whatever, you get some of these guys that really have a strong resume building, there's no way you are going to commit career suicide over a situation like this. Why would you set yourself back like that?
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
I wouldn't do it.